The alarm blared through the bridge of the Earth United Space Fleet ship Horizon. Commander Lisa Harrison looked up from her reports with a frown. They were on a routine patrol of the outer solar system borders, and alarms were never good news. "What is it, Officer Blake?" she asked, moving quickly to the main console. "Ma'am, we're picking up a distress signal. It's not one of ours. Not any pattern I recognize," said Blake, his fingers moving across the glowing display. Lisa leaned forward. "Can we locate it?" "Yes, Mom. It's coming from Sector 7, just beyond Neptune's orbit." Lisa straightened up and looked at the star map. That area was outside their normal patrol route, but not by much. "How long to reach it?" "About 4 hours at standard speed, Commander." Lisa only needed a moment to decide. Set course. Alert medical to prepare for possible rescue operations. The Horizon changed direction smoothly, its engines humming as it accelerated toward the source of the distress call. Lisa spent the journey reviewing what little they knew about this region of space. It wasn't claimed by any known alien powers, but it was close to a trade route used by several species. "Commander, we're approaching the signal source," Blake reported 4 hours later. "Sensors are detecting a small transport vessel. It appears damaged." On the main screen, Lisa could see the ship. It was about half the size of the Horizon, with strange purple markings along its hull. Several areas showed burn marks, and one section was completely torn open to space. "Life signs?" she asked. "Yes, ma'am. Faint but present. Multiple small beings, species unknown." Lisa nodded. "Bring us alongside. Prepare boarding team with full containment protocols." 30 minutes later, Lisa stepped through the airlock connecting the two ships, leading a team of 6 officers in protective suits. The air inside the alien vessel was breathable but thin, and the gravity was lighter than Earth standard. "Hello," Lisa called out. "We received your distress signal. We're here to help." At first, there was no response. Then, from the shadows at the far end of the corridor, something small moved. A creature stepped into the light, and Lisa had to stop herself from making a sound of surprise. The alien was tiny, no taller than a child of 8, with a body covered in short, soft-looking fur and shades of pale blue. Its face reminded Lisa of pictures she had seen of fennec foxes from Earth, with very large ears and enormous eyes that seemed to take up half its face. The creature's limbs were thin and delicate, and it moved with extreme caution. "Thank you for coming," the alien said in surprisingly good English. "We feared no one would respond. I am Neri, spokesperson for the survivors." "Commander Lisa Harrison of Earth," Lisa replied. "What happened to your ship?" Neri's large ears flattened against its head. "We were attacked by Krolovar ships. We are refugees, fleeing from their empire. They hunt our kind, the Verity." "Why would they attack refugees?" asked Officer Patel from behind Lisa. "Because that is what the Krolovar do," said Neri. "We are considered the weakest species in the known galaxy. We have no natural defenses, no combat abilities. We are easy targets." More of the small aliens appeared from hiding places around the ship. Lisa counted 12 in total, all looking scared and exhausted. "How many were on board originally?" Lisa asked gently. 25, Neri replied, eyes downcast. "We lost many in the attack." Lisa made a decision then that would change the course of human history. "We can offer you sanctuary on Earth, if you wish. Our world has taken in refugees before." "The Krolovar will not be pleased," Neri warned. "They may come after us." "Let them try," said Lisa firmly. "Earth protects those who seek shelter. Let's get your people to safety and treat any injuries." As the Verity were carefully transported to the Horizon, Lisa received an urgent communication from a Galactic Council representative, warning of diplomatic consequences for interfering with Krolovar internal matters. She listened politely, then cut the transmission. Sometimes, doing the right thing meant dealing with the consequences later. 6 months had passed since the Verity arrived on Earth. The small aliens had been welcomed by most humans with open arms and curiosity. They settled in small groups across the planet, mostly in quiet rural areas, where they could establish their gardens and live peacefully. Kevin Martinez walked along the beach near his marine research facility in Florida. Beside him hopped Ely, a young verity with fur the color of seafoam. Kevin had adopted Ely 3 months ago, when the government's alien integration program asked for volunteers. "The tide pools look healthy today," Kevin said, kneeling down to examine a cluster of small fish darting around in a shallow pool. Ely crouched beside him, his large ears twitching with interest. "They are happy fish. The water is clean here." Kevin glanced at his companion with a smile. Ely always seemed to know how the sea creatures were feeling. At first, Kevin had thought it was just a way of speaking, but over time he had noticed something unusual. The verity had a special way with animals and plants. "Let's check on the coral transplants," Kevin suggested, standing up. They walked to a section of beach where Kevin's team had been trying to regrow damaged coral reefs. For years, the project had made slow progress. But since Ely joined them, the results had been amazing. The coral was growing at 3 times the normal rate, and fish were returning to the area in large numbers. "I still don't understand how you do it," Kevin said as they waded into the shallow water. Ely's large eyes blinked slowly. "I just listen to what the coral needs. They speak very quietly." Kevin had learned not to dismiss such statements. The verity seemed to have an ability to connect with living things in ways humans couldn't fully understand. Later that day, Kevin received a video call from his friend Olivia, who worked at a farm in Iowa. She had adopted a verity named Tulo. "You won't believe what's happening here," Olivia said excitedly. "Our crops are growing faster and healthier than ever before. Tulo spends time in the fields each morning, and it's like the plants respond to him." "Same thing here with the marine life," Kevin replied. "Have you heard from others?" "Yes. Pat in Colorado says his verity can predict weather changes hours before the instruments pick them up. And Sam in Arizona says his verity helped locate an underground water source that wasn't on any maps." After the call ended, Kevin found Ely sitting by the window, watching the sunset. "Ely, I need to ask you something. Do all verity have these abilities to connect with nature?" Ely turned, his ears drooping slightly. "All verity can feel the living world around them. It is why we never developed weapons or strong bodies. We never wanted to hurt any living thing. But why didn't your people use these abilities more? You could have helped so many worlds." "We were always afraid," Ely explained softly. "Other species saw us as weak and hunted us. We hid our abilities and tried to stay invisible. But humans protected us when we needed help." Kevin sat down beside the small alien. "I've noticed your abilities seem to be getting stronger since you came here." Ely nodded. "Because I feel safe now. When we feel safe, our connection to life grows stronger." He hesitated, then added, "And there is something else. When we trust completely, we can share this connection. Help others feel it too." That evening, scientists across Earth were comparing notes about their verity companions. Government officials were beginning to realize that these seemingly fragile refugees might be far more remarkable than anyone had first thought. And in deep space, a Krolover scout ship changed course. Its destination, Earth. Its mission, to find the verity that had escaped. The message arrived without warning. Every screen on Earth showed the same image. A tall, armored figure with gray skin and yellow eyes. The Krolovar commander spoke in a cold, harsh voice that made people shiver. "People of Earth, you harbor criminals of the verity species. Return them to Krolovar custody within 7 Earth days, or face the consequences. We have ships positioned near your solar system. This is not a negotiation." The message ended, leaving governments worldwide in panic. The Galactic Council, when contacted, refused to help. Earth made its choice to shelter the verity without consulting us, the Council representative said. "We cannot intervene in what the Krolover consider their internal affairs." Lieutenant Amy Foster stood at her post on Defense Platform Jupiter 3, watching the distant stars. She had been assigned here after the first Verity ships arrived, as Earth began strengthening its outer defenses. Her small quarters on the platform had become home to Tiri, a female Verity with silver-blue fur who had lost her family during their escape. "You're worried," Tiri said, coming to stand beside Amy at the observation window. Amy nodded. 7 days isn't much time, and from what we know of Krolovar technology, they could destroy our defenses easily. Tiri's ears drooped. "I wish we had never brought this danger to your world." "No," Amy said firmly. "Earth made the right choice taking you in." Tiri was quiet for a long moment. Then she spoke in a soft voice. "There is something I must tell you. Something all Verity have kept secret for generations." Amy turned to look at her friend. "What is it?" "The real reason the Krolovar hunt us," Tiri explained. "It's not just because we're easy targets. It's because they fear what we can do." Amy frowned. "But you're peaceful. You have no weapons." "We have something more powerful," Tiri said. "When a Verity feels completely safe with another being, we can form a special bond. This bond allows us to amplify the natural abilities of the one we connect with." "Amplify? How?" "If you are strong, you become stronger. If you are smart, you become smarter. If you have good instincts, they become razor-sharp." Tiri's enormous eyes looked up at Amy. "Throughout our history, we were too frightened to form these bonds. Any species that discovered our abilities wanted to use us as tools." Amy processed this information slowly. "But humans have been different." Tiri nodded. "Humans protected us without asking for anything in return. Many Verity now feel safe enough to form true bonds with their human companions." That night, Amy reported Tiri's information to Earth's Defense Command. General Rivera listened carefully, then made a decision that would change the course of the coming conflict. "We're establishing a volunteer program," he announced to his officers. "Humans who have adopted Verity will be asked to join special units. If these bonds can enhance our abilities, that might give us a fighting chance against Krolovar technology." Within days, hundreds of human Verity pairs had joined the program. Training facilities were established around the world. Scientists worked to understand and measure the effects of the bonds. In a secure testing facility, Amy and Tiri demonstrated what they had discovered through their own growing bond. Amy's reaction time had improved by 40%. Her accuracy with weapons was nearly perfect. Most surprisingly, she could sense Tiri's location and emotional state from great distances. "The bond doesn't just enhance physical abilities," Dr. Lee explained to General Rivera as they watched Amy complete an impossible obstacle course. "It seems to create a kind of shared consciousness between partners." 6 days after the Krolovar ultimatum, Earth's defenses were as ready as they could be. New weapon systems had been deployed. Special human Verity units were in position throughout the solar system. No one expected the Krolovar to wait the full 7 days. The Krolovar attack came at dawn on the 6th day. 12 warships appeared near Neptune, their engines glowing bright against the darkness of space. Earth's outer defense station spotted them immediately and sounded the alarm. Captain John Ramirez was ready. He stood on the bridge of the Aurora, a prototype ship designed to take advantage of human Verity partnerships. His crew was small, just 5 humans, and their Verity companions. "Krolovar ships approaching, Captain," reported Susan, his communications officer. "They've already destroyed 2 of our automated defense platforms." John nodded calmly. "Start the bonding sequence." Each crew member placed a hand on a special panel beside their station. Their Verity partners did the same. John felt Lani, his Verity companion, reach out with her mind. The familiar warm feeling spread through his body as their bond deepened. "Bond complete," Lani said softly. Her blue fur seemed to glow slightly in the dim light of the bridge. John felt the change immediately. His mind was sharper. He could see patterns in the enemy movements that would have been invisible before. He knew exactly what to do. "Susan, connect me to all Earth ships in the area," he ordered. When she nodded, he continued, "This is Captain Ramirez. The Krolovar are following a standard attack pattern. They expect us to defend in a certain way. We won't do that. Instead, we'll attack." The Aurora moved forward, followed by 6 other ships with human variety crews. The Krolovar fleet seemed surprised by this move. They had expected Earth forces to retreat and defend, not attack. "Weapons ready," said Officer Greg Peters. Through his bond with his variety partner, Greg could feel the ship's systems as if they were part of his own body. He could target with perfect precision. "Fire," John ordered. The Aurora's weapons hit 3 Krolovar ships at once. The shots landed exactly where they would do the most damage. 2 enemy ships lost power immediately. Across the small fleet, other human variety pairs were showing similar enhanced abilities. Engineers suddenly understood alien technology they had never seen before. Pilots performed maneuvers that should have been impossible. Medical officers could diagnose and treat injuries with just a glance. The Krolovar responded with heavy fire. The Aurora shook as it was hit. "Damage to levels 3 and 4, reported Engineer Maria Lee. She closed her eyes, her bond with her variety partner, helping her see the ship's systems clearly. "I can reroute power. Give me 2 minutes." John felt Lanny's presence in his mind grow stronger. Through their bond, he sensed a Krolovar ship preparing to fire from a new position. "Evasive action," he shouted. "Hard to port." The Aurora moved just in time, avoiding a blast that would have cut the ship in half. The battle raged for 3 hours. Earth's ships suffered damage, but the human variety crews fought with abilities far beyond normal human limits. Finally, the remaining Krolovar vessels turned and retreated, jumping into faster-than-light travel. John stood on the bridge, hardly believing what had happened. They had faced the most feared military force in the galaxy. And won. How? He asked Lani as repair crews worked around them. "How did we do this?" Lani's large eyes looked up at him. "The bond between us is stronger than we expected. Humans have something special. You care deeply for those you protect. That emotion amplifies our connection." Word of the victory spread quickly across Earth. People celebrated in the streets, but military leaders knew this was just the beginning. "The Krolovar will be back," General Rivera told his officers. "And next time, they'll bring a much larger force." In space, the Aurora and its sister ships began the journey home for repairs. Their crews, forever changed by the bonds they had formed, prepared for the greater battle to come. The training center buzzed with activity. In the month since the first battle with the Krolovar, hundreds of new human variety pairs had joined Earth's defense forces. They trained day and night, learning to use their bond to its fullest potential. Dr. Olivia Washington walked through the facility, recording data on her tablet. As the lead scientist studying the neurological effects of human variety bonding, she had made some startling discoveries. "The changes appear to be permanent," she explained to General Rivera as they observed a training session. "Even when separated from their variety partners, the humans maintain enhanced abilities." They watched as Officer Ryan Clark lifted weights that should have been impossible for someone his size. His variety partner, Milo, sat in another room entirely. "How is this possible?" asked Rivera. "The bond rewires neural pathways," Olivia said. "It's like the variety unlocked potential that was always there in human biology, but that we couldn't access on our own." In another section of the facility, variety were showing changes too. Traditionally timid and non-confrontational, many had begun developing their own abilities through the security of human connection. Kira, a young female variety with violet fur, demonstrated her newly discovered talent to create small force fields. "I never knew I could do this," she told her human partner, Nurse Ben Miller. "None of our people ever tried." Deep in space, Laura Chen piloted her small scout ship with her variety partner, Maiko, beside her. Their mission was to gather intelligence on Krolovar movements. The bond between them had grown so strong that they could communicate without speaking. "Something doesn't feel right," Maiko sent to Laura's mind. "We should change course." Laura trusted Maiko's instincts and adjusted their path. Minutes later, they detected a large Krolovar vessel where they would have been. "Let's follow it," Laura decided, "but keep our distance." The Krolovar ship led them to a small moon orbiting a gas giant. Laura kept her ship hidden behind an asteroid as they watched the Krolovar dock with a facility built into the moon's surface. "I can sense something," Miko said, his ears flat against his head. "Pain. Fear. My people are there." Laura's enhanced vision, a gift from her bond with Miko, allowed her to zoom in on the facility. "It looks like some kind of research station. Or prison." They recorded everything they could, then slipped away to send the information back to Earth. What they had found was a Krolovar black site where captured Verity were being experimented on. The images were horrific. When the news reached Earth, it spread quickly. Humans were outraged. The bond between humans and Verity had created a deep connection that made the suffering of one species feel personal to the other. "We need to do more than just defend Earth," John Ramirez argued in a strategy meeting. "We need to free the captured Verity and stop the Krolovar completely." Far from Earth, Laura and Miko continued their mission. As they slept in shifts, Laura woke suddenly with a feeling of danger. Before she could react, a Krolovar patrol ship appeared and fired on them. Their ship took heavy damage. Systems failed across the board. As emergency alarms blared, Laura reached for Miko's hand. "Stay with me," she said. "Focus on our bond." As the ship spun out of control, something amazing happened. Their minds connected more deeply than ever before. Laura suddenly knew how to repair the ship's critical systems despite having no engineering training. Miko could sense the exact location of the Krolovar ship, even through the hull. Most surprisingly, they discovered they could communicate telepathically across vast distances. Laura sent a mental call for help, and on Earth, other bonded pairs heard it. "We're coming," they answered. The Krolovar had no idea what they had unleashed by pushing humans and Verity together. The bond between the species was evolving faster than anyone could have predicted, creating abilities that defied explanation. News of the human-Verity partnership spread quickly throughout the galaxy. Species that had always feared or ignored the Krolovar Empire began to take notice. The Galactic Council chamber was filled with representatives demanding information about these unexpected developments. "How is it possible that humans, a species barely known to us, have managed to fight off Krolovar battle fleets?" asked the delegate from the Centauri Federation. The council leader looked uncomfortable. "We are still gathering information, but it appears the humans have formed some kind of symbiotic relationship with the Verity refugees they sheltered. The same Verity that we all agreed were too weak to deserve council protection," another delegate asked pointedly. On the edges of Krolovar space, Admiral Daniel Garcia led Earth's now formidable fleet toward a small planet called Veratis III. This was one of the original Verity colony worlds that had been captured by the Krolovar decades ago. Intelligence suggested that thousands of Verity were being held as prisoners there. "All ships report ready, Admiral," said his second-in-command, Captain Fiona Lewis. Daniel nodded. Through his bond with his Verity partner, Zio, he could feel the readiness of the fleet commanders. Each ship had at least 3 human Verity pairs on board, and their connected minds formed a network of awareness that no military force had ever achieved before. "Begin the operation," he ordered. The Earth fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel directly above Veratis III. The Krolovar defense forces were caught completely by surprise. They had expected any attack to come from the direction of the main space lanes, not from the seemingly empty void above the planet's North Pole. "First wave, engage," Daniel commanded. The battle that followed shocked observers throughout the galaxy. Human pilots performed maneuvers that defied the laws of physics. Gunners hit targets with impossible accuracy. Most remarkably, the human Verity pairs demonstrated abilities that military experts had thought were myths. Precognition that allowed them to react to attacks before they happened, manipulation of energy fields to deflect weapons fire, and instantaneous communication across thousands of miles. A Galactic Council observation ship, monitoring from a safe distance, recorded everything. This cannot be allowed to continue, the Krolovar representative demanded during an emergency council session. These humans have weaponized a species under our jurisdiction. They must be stopped before they upset the balance of power in the galaxy. Your jurisdiction. The Arcturian delegate responded. We have received disturbing evidence of Krolovar experiments on captured Verity. Is this how you treat species under your protection? The debate raged while, back at Veritas 3, the Earth fleet had achieved a complete victory. The Krolovar forces had retreated, leaving behind their prison facilities. Over 7,000 Verity were freed. As the rescued Verity boarded Earth transport ships, many asked to be paired with human partners. The word had spread among their kind. Humans were different. Humans protected rather than exploited. On the bridge of his flagship, Daniel received a transmission from Earth. General Rivera's face appeared on the main screen. Excellent work, Admiral, Rivera said. But we've just received intelligence that the Krolovar Emperor has ordered their entire military to mobilize for a full-scale assault on Earth. They're calling it an extinction-level response. Daniel felt Zio's surge of fear through their bond. He placed a reassuring hand on his partner's shoulder. How long do we have? He asked. 2 weeks, maybe less, Rivera replied. All human Verity forces are being recalled to defend Earth. As they ended the transmission, Daniel turned to Zio. What are you sensing? Zio's large eyes were troubled. The Krolovar are afraid, Daniel. Truly afraid. They believe that if the bond between humans and Verity spreads, it will mean the end of their empire. Daniel nodded slowly. They might be right about that. Throughout the galaxy, power was shifting. Species that had lived under Krolovar intimidation for centuries began to whisper about rebellion. The Galactic Council, long dominated by the most powerful military forces, faced increasing pressure to reform. And at the center of it all were the humans and their supposedly weak allies, whose partnership was rewriting the rules of what was possible. The Krolovar Emperor stood on the command deck of his flagship, the Destroyer of Worlds. Around him, thousands of warships gathered, the largest fleet ever assembled in the history of the Empire. Their target, Earth. We must end this human threat now, the Emperor told his commanders. If we allow the Verity to spread their bond with these humans, we will lose everything we have built over centuries. Across the galaxy, Earth prepared for the coming attack. Every human Verity pair was called to service. Defense systems were strengthened. Civilian populations moved to underground shelters. Earth's intelligence network, enhanced by Verity empathic connections, had intercepted the Krolovar battle plans. They knew when and where the attack would come. They expect us to wait and defend, General Rivera said during the final strategy meeting. That's what any reasonable military force would do against such overwhelming numbers. Then we won't be reasonable, replied Commander Paul Nelson, leader of an elite strike team of human Verity pairs. We'll take the fight to them instead. Paul's team boarded the Shadow, a stealth ship designed to slip past enemy sensors. With him was his Verity partner Siri, whose silver-white fur had begun to take on a metallic sheen as their bond deepened. Are you sure about this plan? Siri asked as they prepared for departure. Paul nodded. While their fleet attacks Earth, we'll strike directly at the Krolovar homeworld. If we can disable their central command, their attack will fall apart. The Shadow left Earth silently, using special engines developed through the human Verity partnership. The ship could travel faster than any vessel ever built, and its hull absorbed sensor scans rather than reflecting them. As the Krolovar battle fleet approached Earth, the Shadow was already nearing the Krolovar homeworld of Kroloth. Through their deep bond, Paul and his team could sense each other's thoughts and move with perfect coordination. Approaching Kroloth defense perimeter, reported Sam, the navigation officer. Sensors detect automated defense platforms. Slit between them, Paul ordered. Use the gaps in their scanning pattern. The Shadow danced through the defense network, invisible to Krolovar technology. When they reached the planet's atmosphere, They activated the ship's cloaking shield, another innovation from the human variety science teams. "We have the location of the Central Command Center," Paul told his team as they landed in a remote area. "It's 15 miles north of here, built into a mountain." The team moved through the Krolover city silently. Their enhanced abilities allowed them to sense patrols before they appeared and to blend perfectly with shadows. When they reached the mountain base, they discovered it was even more heavily guarded than expected. "There's no way to get through those defenses without being seen," said Lily, the team's tech specialist. Paul looked at Siri, feeling his partner's resolve through their bond. "There is one way," Siri said quietly, "but it will require a sacrifice." Before Paul could protest, Siri stepped forward and began to glow with an inner light. The energy of their bond flowed visibly through his small body. "What I give you freely," Siri whispered, touching Paul's forehead. A surge of power unlike anything Paul had ever felt rushed through him. As Siri's physical form dissolved into pure energy, Paul's body began to change. His muscles hardened. His senses sharpened beyond human limits. His mind expanded to encompass the entire battlefield at once. The other team members stepped back in awe. Paul had transformed into something new, neither human nor variety, but a perfect blend of both. The first Warbeast. "I can feel him," Paul said, his voice deeper and resonant. "He's still with me, part of me now." With a speed no human could match, Paul tore through the Krolover defenses. Guards fired at him, but he moved faster than their targeting systems could track. Barriers that would have stopped an army fell before his strength. Within minutes, Paul stood in the heart of the Krolover command center. The defensive systems of the entire planet lay before him. "For Earth," he said. "For the Verity. For Siri." With a single command, he shut down the planet's defenses. 6 months after the fall of the Krolovar Empire, the galaxy was a changed place. With the Krolovar Emperor and his high command captured by Paul's strike team, the massive fleet attacking Earth had fallen into confusion. Many ships surrendered. Others fled back to their home systems, only to find their central command disabled. The Galactic Council chamber was filled to capacity as representatives gathered to sign the new alliance charter. At the center of the room stood 2 flags side by side. Earth's blue and green standard next to the silver star of the free Verity worlds. "Today marks a new beginning," announced the council leader, a tall being from the Arcturian system. "For too long, our council has been based on the principle of non-interference, which too often meant standing by while injustice occurred. The new alliance of free worlds will be founded on mutual protection and respect for all sentient beings." In the front row, Admiral Garcia sat with his Verity partner Zio. Both wore the new insignia of Earth's diplomatic corps, a human hand and a Verity paw joined together. "Did you ever imagine this would happen when you first came to Earth?" Daniel asked softly. Zio's large eyes were bright with emotion. "Never. We were running for our lives, hoping only for shelter. Instead, we found partners and friends." Scientists across the galaxy were still studying the remarkable bond between humans and Verity. Research had confirmed what many had begun to suspect. The bond was changing human DNA, creating a new evolutionary branch that combined the best aspects of both species. Dr. Olivia Washington presented her findings to an amazed conference of xenobiologists. "The children of bonded humans are being born with slight genetic modifications, enhanced empathic abilities, improved neural connections, and in some cases, physical adaptations that we're still documenting." Not all changes were physical. Earth's society had been transformed by the Verity presence. The empathic abilities of their alien friends had led to new approaches to conflict resolution, environmental restoration, and community building. At a newly established academy near what had once been the Krolover capital, Lieutenant Kate Nichols oversaw the training of the next generation of human Verity partnerships. Her own partner, Vela, had become a respected teacher of Verity history and culture. "The goal isn't to create warriors," Kate explained to a group of visitors. Though we call ourselves Warbeasts, our purpose is protection, not aggression. We're training peacekeepers who can intervene when needed, but who primarily serve as bridges between different cultures. Among the students were not only humans and Viridi, but members of a dozen other species who had been inspired by the unlikely partnership. Even a few young Krollover had joined, eager to help rebuild their society in a more peaceful direction. In a quiet garden behind the academy, Paul Nelson sat alone, yet not alone. Though Ciri's physical form was gone, his essence remained part of Paul through their permanent bond. Paul's appearance had stabilized after his transformation, still recognizably human, but with silver-white hair and eyes that seemed to see beyond normal space. The historians are calling it the adoption that changed the galaxy, Kate said, joining him on the bench. Paul smiled. Ironic, isn't it? Everyone thought we were adopting the weakest species in the galaxy. Turns out, we were the ones who needed them. Kate nodded, watching her students practice in the field beyond. What do you think will happen next? We keep learning from each other, Paul said simply. The Viridi taught us that true strength isn't about dominance or power. It's about connection, protection, and growth. As the sun set over the academy, ships from 100 worlds moved peacefully through the skies above. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Sometimes the greatest strength comes from unexpected places, and those deemed weakest by some may hold the key to a better future for all. In the stars above, the legacy of a simple act of kindness, humans offering shelter to refugees, continued to reshape the course of galactic history.